Good evening, parents and teachers. My name is Fitzwin Francis, a graduate early childhood teacher from the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Community College Division of Teacher Education, and presently pursuing early childhood development and family studies at the University of the West Indies Global Campus. Now, I am sure that you would have been engaged in some level of play before. Right, everybody? Good. So today, I am here to discuss with you the value of play in your child's development. Now, in our early years, we were engaged in things such as playing moral, bunnings, cricket and all of that, and we saw it as just being fun. But today, we are going to not exclude the part of it being fun, but learn that play is more than fun. And to do so, we are going to talk about the rights of a child to play according to UNICEF 31, what is play, the benefits of play in child development, and after all of this, I'll be able to give you a few tips or a few games you can play with your child at home to develop your child holistically. But before we get into the content delivery of this PowerPoint presentation, let's engage in a little fun activity. So can you all stand for me? Now we are going to play a game called head, shoulder, knees and toes. And if you miss a part from the instruction of this song, you'll just sit, which means that you are eliminated. Okay? So let's go after two. Head, shoulder, knees and toes, head, shoulder, knees and toes, and eyes and ears and mouth and nose, head, shoulder, knees and toes, faster, head, shoulder, knees and toes, head, shoulder. Okay. So how did that little activity make you feel?
Good.
Good. Now have you learned anything at all?
Parts of your body.
Okay, yes. You were able to identify the different parts of your body while playing and having fun. Now, this is what play means to your child's development. They are not only playing for fun, but they will be learning through play. Good. So, the rights of a child to play according to UNICEF Article 31. This states that every child has the right to rest and leisure, to engage in play and recreational activities appropriate for their age. Now, what does that really mean? Anybody could guess what that really means? Okay, well, in other words, it is saying that play is a child's right, not a choice. Like the right to food, education, and safety, play is fundamental and should not be viewed as an extra or a bonus. Now, it is telling us that children are supposed to be played. It is not something we're supposed to use, for example, if they complete a good task. So, for example, they read today, oh, you read already, so you can play. Or you didn't do anything good at school today, you're not going to play. No, it is not something you give them as a reward. It is their right. So just like you have a right in this upcoming election here in St. Vincent to vote, so too does your child have a right to play. That is what Article 31 is telling us here. Good. It is also saying that children require time for space to rest and to play daily. They should engage in playful things that are fun for them and suitable for their age grade. For example, they should be able to freely engage in things such as catch-up, round dash, cricket, all these sporting activities. They should be able to imagine or pick up roles of persons around them. So that's fantasy play. Imagining to be the teacher or imagining to be you the daddy or the mommy. They should be allowed to play. And it is also telling us that we as teachers and parents have a responsibility to respect that right by offering space in which children can play freely and safely. Play is therefore a right and a necessity. You hear me that say? A right and a necessity, meaning they must play. We have to allow them to play according to Article 31. And additionally, it is the best means by which children learn. And just like you just told me through our little activity that you were able to identify the different parts of your body, so too, when children play, they are able to acquire knowledge. Good. So what is play? Anybody could tell me what they think play is? Okay. Well, play is an enjoyable voluntary activity that children choose to do, which help them to explore, imagine, and understand the world around them. You could imagine a child just outside playing in the sand, right? And they are exploring, they are understanding the world around them. So by simply playing, let's say they are playing with sand and water, and they have a pile of sand and they throw some water in it, they are able now to realize, no, but if you throw the water in the sand, and just like the sand suck up the water. So they are exploring, they are understanding different things. According to the National Association of Education for a Young Child, play is the natural work of a child. So just like my natural work is to come to school and educate your children, their work is to play. You hear what me say? They work to play. So when you see a child play, you say, hey, no, go sit down. Remember, they are to be played. It is their right according to UNICEF 31. Other persons who have studied early childhood development throughout the years, and one is called Frederick Froebel. He is also the founder of the kindergarten movement. He believes that play is the highest expression of human development in childhood, for it alone is the free expression of what's in a child's soul. So when children play, they're expressing themselves. Sometimes you don't even know your child could do something, but while they're playing, they're like, wait, Tama, John, I know you could do that. Right, so it expresses, it brings out what they can and cannot do through play. Good. Now, how does this play that we talk about help or aid your child in their physical development? Now, mind you, the curriculum of St. Vincent and the Grenadines states, because it's a curriculum adapted from OECS, it's a harmonized curriculum. It states that children should be learning through child to play-based activities, right? So the curriculum and the ministry is emphasizing that we as teachers engage children in play-based learning and thematic modules. So it means if I am teaching math, if I am teaching science, whatever concept I am teaching, that child should be able to play while learning that particular content area. So now, how does play help in physical development? What does physical development mean? Well, physical development speaks to the growth of their body, the movement and control, their movement and control, their motor skills, their gross and fine motor skills. And by gross and fine motor skills, we're talking about their foot muscles, their hand muscles, their finger muscles, their coordination, their strength, and their balance. Now, how does play help with all of these things? Through active play, and we know we love to see our children always outside. They're running, they're jumping, they're climbing. And sometimes we see them and they say, when I go sit down, you're not fed up, run up and down. Oh, if you climb a chain and you're going to fall down. Like that. But here it is telling us that through active play, such as running, jumping, climbing, skipping, children strengthens their growth and fine motor, say they're strengthening their muscles, right? They're improving their balance and coordination, and they are building healthy bodies. And as adults, we know we are told we are supposed to be exercising to keep our body fit, right, and healthy. And when our children are playing like this, when they're engaged in physical play such as running, jumping, climbing, they are creating a fit body, a healthy body, right? When they draw, play with building blocks and mold Play-Doh, they are developing their fine motor skills, right? And you know, sometimes children come to school and they cannot hold their pencils properly. It is because that child was not able to develop their fine and gross motor skills, and the best way to do that is through play. So you can have some Play-Doh at home and just let them knead that Play-Doh. And by kneading that Play-Doh, even playing outside in the sand, they will be able to strengthen their finger muscles, so when they get to school, they can write properly. Because I know sometimes when children come home, we want to say, how will you write that? Then I write good, right? And it's because their fine motor skills are not developed properly. So play helps with that. Good. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there are a few persons who studied this field of child development early, right? And here we have a few of them who speaks to how play helps. But I will not go through this because the PowerPoint will be shared to all parents here. So you will have the time to go through and see what these people who study this field had to say about physical development. Good. So as I mentioned earlier, the Ministry of Education is emphasizing child play, a play-centered type of learning. And in my classroom, I usually engage my children in play. And one of those play activities that we normally do to help with their building of their muscles, their balance, and so on, is one called obstacle course. And for today's demonstration, I'm using the example of identifying some animals around us. So just picture you're in my class, and we are going to identify some animals that live around us. I will have developed an obstacle course where we'll have tires, we'll have little ropes to climb under, we'll have sands to dig up, right? So in this activity, I as the teacher would give the song of an animal. So for example, I will say, moo, meh, one of those songs, right? And the child will have to recognize the song, go through the obstacle course. So they are going to be jumping, hopping, crawling, digging up in the sand, and they are going to look for the animal that gives the song, whether moo or meh, and they will present it back to me. That way, the children are engaged, they're actively working, they're building their physical development skills. Okay, so let's go on to cognitive development. And cognitive development is all about the brain, what goes on in the brain. It involves how we think, we problem solve, the memory they have, the way they go through decision making, their reasoning skills, their symbolic understanding, and so on, even up to language, right? And one of the persons who studied this field, called Lev Vygotsky, emphasizes that play allows children to operate in their zone of proximal development. And this simply means that they can perform a higher level task when supported by peers and adults. Right? Jean Piaget, which is another person who studied this field, explained that through play, children move from concrete experiences to abstract thinking, meaning that they move from solitary play where they were playing by themselves, and they go to abstract thinking, they mingle with others and they think outside the box. right? And as I said, there are some more mentioned here, but you have an opportunity to go through them for yourself, right? Moving on. And I hope you're understanding as I go through, right? So it is simply saying, right, that when our children are engaged in play, right? So every time our child experiments, imagines or pretend their mind is growing. They are building curiosity, they are building creativity and readiness for school, right? Readiness for school, Okay, so now an activity that I normally engage my students in to develop their cognitive, their minds, their brain, right? One is called kitchen, and for today we're going to do important meals for the day. So if I'm at school and I'm teaching, I have taught the different type of meals we have for the day. In this activity, I will ask my students to pretend that they are making breakfast, lunch, or dinner. I will give them things such as Play-Doh, water, leaves, sticks, spoons, measuring cups, and so on, for them to create this meal. Remember, they pretend, so a child might make, say they're making bread and egg, or they might make baked chicken and lasagna, whatsoever they are going to make. They are going to do that to play, right? And they will be able to tell me, oh teacher, I made a meal for breakfast, I made a meal for lunch. When they're doing this, they're developing knowledge in terms of mathematics, where they are exploring with measurements. So they will say, teacher, I chew only 1 cup. And when I chew the 1 cup, the Play-Doh gets soft, or I chew half a cup and nothing happened to the Play-Doh. You understand? So they are experimenting with different content areas. They are exploring in science. So now they are exploring textures and they are able to make different predictions as to what will happen now, what will happen next, and so on. Now, in this case, your child's skin might get hurt when they engage in activities like this. And I know lots of parents love to complain, oh, na school you been, because if a school you been, the skin na been, but that is so. Half of be bush. No, na bush you been around, na bush at all. The child was learning while playing, and then sometimes when we play with skin, have to get a little dirt. But note that the skin is not dirty just because he was having fun. It is because he was learning to play. Okay, we move on to their social and emotional development. Now, when I speak about their social and emotional development, I'm talking about the way they express themselves. Do they feel, how they feel? Do they say, Mom, I'm happy today? Or Mom, I'm sad today? How do they value their identity? Are they comfortable in the skin there? Because sometimes right now, so I realize people bleaching a lot. So what about their identity? Are they proud to be the girl or the boy they are? Do they share? Do they say, I'm sorry? Do they apologize? And show feelings of empathy, right? When we talk about social and emotional development, these are the things that we are talking about. Now, they provide a safe space to express emotions, experience leadership roles, negotiate conflicts, take turns, and build friendship. Now, when a child is at school, there are different persons in the classroom, right? And they're able to play, mingle. So sometimes in the play, you might say they're having some kind of conversation, you want to really know if children know about things. You understand? Or they might be engaged in something and they're trying to figure out something. And one might not be able to figure out, and one might say, no, if I will do them so it will work. If I will do them so this is why you now work out. This is why it's working. They're able to resolve whatever issues they have. They're developing how to make decisions. They're developing how to negotiate their problems and solve their problems on their own, as well as bonding with their classmates to create or develop friendship. Good. So one activity I engage my children in to help or aid in this regard is by role play, right? And I normally let them role play different things going on in our community, different things that they are familiar with. And for today, I have a community helpers in a garden, right? So I would have given them, so we are going out together as a class, they might be in groups, and I will give them some buckets, a bucket of water, a shovel, some sand, and we're going to plant some stuff, right? And they are going to be able to plant or grow a plant. So they'll be planting a seed, watering it daily, and seeing how a plant grow, right? See the time it grow, and maybe I will be able to question them when they go, what happened to it today? What happened to it yesterday? Did you water it today? Why you have to water it? And all of these things. They are learning as we go through. They would be able to somehow come home and tell mommy in case mommy wants to plant something in the backyard. They'll say, mommy, but wait. No, you have to make sure the plants are water. And you have to be in a sun and thing to make sure it grow. Right? So even while they were playing, they were digging and having fun, digging the ground, having fun, throwing water, and they might, and remember they played with water and sand, so it don't mess up there. Good. So even though they would have dirtied their skin through this playful activity, they were actively engaged in soil play while learning responsibility, teamwork, and care. They were developing their emotional side of them and their social side of them. They were learning how to share because, one child might watch water every day. And then through groups and solving their own conflict, they go realize, nah boy, me one catch water every day. And me one carry the ground every day. I have to share the bucket today or tomorrow. So they are developing social skills as well as responsibility. Now, some tips you can use as parents to help your child at home. You can engage them in outdoor activities such as climbing, jumping, skipping, playing with this, and we have lots of beach here. So you can take them to the beach and have them have a little shovel and a bucket, dig up the ground and all of that. So they're building their physical development, they're building their muscles, their fine and gross motor skills. You can engage them in puzzles and board games to build their cognitive development because they have to reason what pieces to put together in the puzzles. That's another game, and it's where they are learning board games, card games, and role play. Now that we have come to the end of our discussion today, I would conclude by saying your child didn't just dirty their skin, because some of the activities I used there, they would have been dirtying their skins, right? So the child did not just dirty him or her skin. They measured, they experiment, they solved problems, they work as part of a team, they strengthen their bodies and grow emotionally. That is evidence of activity, learning, curiosity, and development. So now I have concluded, I hope that your many misconceptions that play is just fun, after leaving today, you would let your child have that right to